for you. Let me say that again. My grace is sufficient for you. Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians that God spoke these words to him. To get an idea of how big God's grace is, there is nothing you have ever done or could do that God's grace doesn't cover. God's grace is a prize. It's a prize we get for winning the daily battles in our Christian lives. No one will ever deserve God's grace, but we do have to earn it. We must live for Christ. That means your heart must beat for Christ. You must breathe every breath for Christ. That sounds pretty easy, but we all know it's not. So let's look at a way to make it easier for us. Let's think of the word first. Let's examine each letter. The letter F stands for faith. You have to have faith to become a Christian, right? So you already have the foundation. Now you have to grow your faith. You grow your faith by hearing the word, reading the word, and teaching the word. In 1 Timothy 4:13, Paul tells Timothy, "Till I come, give attention to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine." So grow your faith. I stands for imitate. Imitate the examples we're given in the Bible of godly people. Imitate those who follow Christ. When I was younger, I liked to imitate my dad, like most little boys. I would also imitate my older brother, even though he didn't really like me doing that. But as children, we want to be like our older brothers or our dads, guys we look up to. So find someone in the church that you look up to and imitate them. Most importantly, we're to imitate Christ. To imitate means to follow the way of. Christ told us himself the importance of following him in Matthew 10:38. "He who does not take up his cross and follow me is not worthy of me." R stands for be ready. R stands for ready. Be ready in season and out of season. We're told in 2 Timothy 4:2. Paul is telling Timothy to always be ready to preach the word. The same goes for us. If you are following Christ, as we just discussed, others will notice, and some may even ask you about it. You must be ready to preach Christ at all times. S stands for serve. When living for Christ, you must serve others. Jesus often referred to himself as a servant, even going so far as to wash the feet of his own disciples. But serving is more than just an action. It's a way of life. It's the idea of putting others' needs before your own. In 1 Corinthians 10:24, we're told, "Let no one seek his own, but each one another's well-being." We must live with an attitude of humility, putting others' needs before your own. Lastly, T represents trust. We must trust that God has our best interest at heart. We must trust that God will lead us where he wants us to be. It means asking God that his will be done, not ours. It means being willing to accept an answer to our prayer that we really don't like. Imagine Daniel in the lion's den. He had total trust in God in the face of absolute certain death, and God saved him. Psalm 18:30 tells us, "As for God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is proven. He is a shield to all that trust him." What we're talking about is winning the ultimate victory. And to win the ultimate victory, heaven, we must first win the prize of God's grace here on earth. To do that, we must always imitate Christ and those that follow him. We must always be ready to teach and to preach. We must be servants, putting others before us, being selfless instead of selfish. And we must trust we must trust God. We must trust that his way is the right way. It's an easy way to remember how to always put God first.
Let's see, letter F. On September 12, 1913, in the small town of Danville, Alabama, James was born to poor black sharecroppers. When he was 7 years old, he was already picking cotton in the cotton fields. He was always sick and was even close to death several times with pneumonia. Who would have ever known that this sick little kid who grew up in poverty would grow up to become one of the most famous athletes in sports history? James Cleveland Owens, known to the world as Jesse Owens, set 3 world records and tied a 4th in just 70 minutes while in college, and later won 4 gold medals at the 1936 Olympics. I can't imagine how hard it must have been to be so sick all the time and what he had to go through to become so successful. I think it came down to deciding if the goal was worth the work. I believe that once he set his mind to it, he worked harder than anyone else and ultimately won the prize. You know, that's just like being a Christian. You can have everything going against you and still succeed. But it takes 3 things to achieve that success: dedication, determination, and discipline. First, you must be dedicated to your goal. Do you want to get good grades? Study hard and do all your homework every day. Do you want to run fast? Then practice every day. Great athletes don't just practice once or twice a week, or only when the coach is looking. They not only practice every day, but they learn how to get better, and they hang around people who are already successful. As we're told in 1 John 5:4, for whatever is born of God overcomes the world. And this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith. Second, you must have determination. You must be determined to always do the right thing. When your friends are wanting you to do something you know is wrong, it's that determination that will give you the strength to say no. Even though Jesse Owens was the fastest, he would not have won his gold medals if he didn't compete according to the rules. 1 false start, and he would have been disqualified. As we're told in Philippians 3:14, I've pressed toward the goal of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. Third, you must have discipline. For us kids,